going on, everybody? Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Viall Files Ask Nick edition. I'm your host, Nick, joined by part of the household, Allie and Amanda, are with us, the OGs.
What's up, chachos?
Oh my God.
Greetings.
It's like whenever I'm hanging out with just my parents and my brother's not there, I'm like, Three Musketeers, founding members. That's us.
It's like, why'd you have them?
I love my brother. He's the best.
Yeah. Good to be with you guys. We have a great episode lined up for you. So excited for you to get to that. Who do we got on the agenda this week? We got
Paige DeSorbo.
Ooh, wow, what a get for us. Paige DeSorbo from Summerhouse. Paige also just
Super funny, very like fashion forward, girly. Like,
yeah, we're excited to talk with Paige. Long time coming. Excited to have her. Then our friends Erica Priscilla and her husband Scott rejoined the show. They were our guests on episode 420.
Memorable.
They'll be with us. I'm sure we'll get into a bunch of fun topics with them. Get ready to laugh all week long. That much I promise you. It's going to be a ton of fun. So I hope you join us.
Also, on Friday, we have an update going up behind Viall Files Plus.
And we dropped an update last Friday behind Classic, if you haven't got to that yet.
We're just like, update.
We know you love your updates. They're all free. You know, free to sign up for Viall Files Plus, free to just listen to Viall Files Classic. So if you are missing out on some of the updates that you've been wondering what's been going on, you are missing out because this will be our 13th update special behind Viall Files Plus. So think of all the updates that you're missing if you haven't signed up yet.
Like, I know y'all love closure.
Yeah.
There's one thing
How do I get closure, Nick? How do I get closure?
Subscribe to Viall Files Plus.
Yeah, you only get closure with yourself by pulling out that credit card.
I read a book that called The Perfectionist's Guide to Losing Control, and like the author has a very compelling like closure as a fantasy section.
Oh,
and I agree. Similar to what you say of like
Indeed.
closure as acceptance.
You read so many books.
Yeah.
You're just
I listen to them on
knowledge.
audiobook.
Still.
Question. Do you guys ask a waiter of their opinion on the menu ever? Allie doesn't. I don't know.
I have the appetite, the palate of a 6-year-old boy. So typically when they're like, this special is, I'm like, I don't like steak. I wouldn't eat the scallops. Like, where are your chicken tenders and fries? So it feels like a waste of their time, and I don't want to be rude.
Yeah. What about you?
Okay, so I have a strategy where like if I'm between like 2 or 3 things, I will ask for the waiter's input. Usually they have a strong opinion, and then it's always golden. My boyfriend goes like Barbara Walters on their ass. Like, we'll like sit down at a restaurant. We'll both look at the menu. I'll be like, okay, I'm excited. And a lot of times we'll do like share a bunch of different things. And I really appreciate I've tried the best food of my life because of like the stuff he recommends. So I very much am like, I defer to you if like you have strong opinions. And he'll look at the menu and look at me and goes, I got some questions. And then when the waiter comes, he will ask questions. And they're never annoying. And they're usually just like, what do you recommend? But like sometimes he will have very specific, like, what cut of meat is this pork?
Oh, yeah.
And like,
No, your Nick is the personality equivalent of like the Midwestern boat wave. Like, you're never going to be mad at him. Like, he's going to be a kind guy, can kind of get along with anybody. He's going to wave to you on a boat.
yeah, it's like he's the most like animated chiller I've ever met in my life.
Yeah.
Like he's so like flamboyant and animated and opinionated and like vibrant, but he's also like to his core like a guy you want to get a beer with.
Well, I asked the question because the other day Nellie and I went out to dinner, and I asked the waiter, like, what do you think about X, Y, or Z? And then it dawned on me that, I mean, not quite as bad as Allie, but I'm particular with how things are prepared.
Yes.
I like things a certain way. Do I love pizza? Yes. But like, I don't like soggy pizza. I don't like undercooked pizza.
I don't think many do.
Well, no, I do. Yeah, no, they do. I just like, what's the undercarriage look like? Does it come down? Does it flip? Is it over?
When you say undercarriage, are you talking about like if you lift up the cheese?
The bread.
Okay,
bread,
I see what you mean.
It's cooter.
And I ask myself, like, why do I ask people what their favorite when I don't know how they like things prepared? You know? Like, I don't know their taste bud preferences. I'm asking all these people, like, what do they want? And I don't know what they like, you know?
I feel like, yeah, so I feel like you're asking questions that require follow-up questions, which is not bad.
Yeah. It's like, do you know anyone you could set me up with type of questions? And it's just like, well, how do you know that they have the same preferences and people as you have? I don't know.
Have you ever gotten bad advice from a waiter?
Yeah,
Regretted?
all the time.
Really?
Yes.
You've been burned, and yet you still put yourself out there.
Yeah. I mean, I usually don't. I mean, I have, but usually I know what I want. And when I don't know what I want, then it's anarchy. Yeah.
I will say something that you need to usually ask follow-up questions about are cocktails. I feel like that's a very common question I'll ask of like, is this really sweet? Because you can see the ingredients, but you don't really know how it's going to taste.
Pivot. How did your parents deal with the birds and the bees conversation? And did you tell your parents the first time that you were sexually active?
Mine was over a period of years, many books. The first book came in second grade.
They just gave you books?
No, I read the books.
By who? Your parents?
My mother. The first book was in second grade. It was a picture book. I will never forget the animated people underneath a sheet looking so pleased with themselves after they had fornicated.
Oh my.
What was the book called?
Oh, I wish I knew. I don't know, but the books got more like detailed as you got older.
What were the general? But what was the general? I bring this up because I recently was asked, like, am I gonna like give my kids protection? You know, like we didn't talk about sex. It was don't have it before you get married, so you don't burn in hell, you know, type of thing. And so I certainly didn't talk about it with my parents. Because I answered the question like, yeah, I think so, you know. So obviously I put a lot of thought into it, and like I don't want to be the parent who like you tell a kid no, it makes them want to rebel and do things. And so I feel like I'm just gonna be the awkward cool dad to the point that whenever my kid or kids are considering being sexually active, the last thing I want going through their brain is, do I really want to talk to my dad about this? Because I'm going to be the person who's just like, we can talk about anything and nothing's off limits. And I'm not going to yell at you. I just want you to make you be safe. And I want you to value yourself. But whenever you're ready, and you're going to be ready, I guess, because I can't really stop you. But I want them to know that they're going to have this awkward conversation with dad, who's going to be like, what was it like? You know, like, how'd you feel? You know, and if nothing else, maybe that will give them pause. I want them to like be dreading having a conversation with
post
dad.
game.
Yeah, the post game replay, where I'm going to be like, hey, all right, let's sit down. Let's just talk about it.
Oh, so it's like the opposite. You're not telling them no, but they might avoid it just to avoid the conversation.
100%.
I see.
Yeah.
What's your take on like privacy in the sense of like, what if that's something?
My kids won't have privacy.
If they're like young too. I mean, I think it's different. I was so glad that I waited until when I did. I mean, I didn't do anything until college, and I felt like that was better because I was like, I'm living on my own. I felt like more of an adult because I was.
What do you mean by privacy? Like, do you think I should have privacy? I mean, listen, if I just feel like we're going to have a very communicative family, we're going to talk about boundaries and self-respect with mom and dad. Listen, I just want you guys to feel we are here to talk to you. We are here to be there for you, and you're going to deal with life lessons. And as you get into your teenage years, it's going to be complicated, but I never want you to be afraid to talk to us. And we're just going to be easy to talk to, but like slightly awkward, you know, because it's still mom and dad. But no, I don't think privacy is a right that my kids are going to enjoy. You don't get to lock your rooms. You don't get to have passwords. Like, if you're in this household and you're under 18, you're not going to be afraid of being punished. You're just going to have to talk to us about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I and obviously, like, go in. This is not me in any way debating what you should do as a parent. I just think like my parents very systematically and thoughtfully gave me increasing amounts of privacy and independence and ways that I think were really effective. And because I feel like it was more like consensual of like what of my life that certain things that I shared with them. And granted, I knew there were non-negotiables. I knew that there were things that they had really strong stances on. I also knew like, you know, they were very clear of like, if there is ever in a situation where like someone is drinking, like, do not get in a car with them. We will pick you up. You will not get in trouble. Like, they're always very good about stuff like that of like, you will not get in trouble if you like end up in a shitty situation and like we bail you out. Like, you will not be punished for that. That is what we want you to do. And I don't know. I just think there's like something. So my brother and so his girlfriend at the time told her mom that they were having sex.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was like, oh, now I have to tell my parents. And so he told my parents, like, because my mom was an OBGYN, she gave them a gift basket. Plan B, pregnancy tests, condoms.
Insane.
Like
Quite literally wild.
But really, like all like the full, and I was like,
I mean, you can't stop them,
yeah. So you might as well equip them.
right? I mean,
I feel like I'd want it to be hidden from me. I'd be like, if you're going to be that blatantly disrespectful in my house, be better at hiding it.
I think by the
well,
time
I don't know. I'm definitely not going to be the person who's like, yeah, you can't fuck here. I'm sorry.
You're going to like let them in their room?
No, I said you can't.
Oh, yeah.
You are going to be the person who's like, no fucking at my house.
Yeah, like
It was so weird to see.
Go into the woods or something. I don't
literally
fucking know.
do what dad had to do. Go in the wilderness.
Yeah.
The day after my sister's wedding, my sister and my rooms are like in their own little part of the house. And seeing her husband back there, I was like, why are you here? I was like, get out. They've been together for 13 years. That was the first time he was back there.
Oh, right. Because they always slept in separate beds until they were married.
I was like, what are you doing here?
I just want my kid to ask themselves, is this person worthy? And do I want to talk to dad about this?
And do I want dad to talk about it on the podcast?
So my kid's fucking. I wouldn't do that.
I just mean like there might be I think there's like certain stuff where it's like totally like, conversation about boundaries. But I just think like maybe because privacy is a spectrum, like how do you think you would handle if there was like a level of like detail that you wanted to engage with? Like, I'm not talking about like the sex itself, but like stuff that you wanted to know about them and their relationship with their body that they weren't comfortable sharing. Like, how do you feel like you would navigate that?
What do you mean?
Like if you're talking to your kid, you're doing the post game.
Yeah.
And like you ask a question and they're like, I don't want to answer that.
I don't want to get graphic, It's going to be adult and like parental, and I'm not trying to like, but if you can do it, you can talk about it. And if you can't talk about it, maybe you're not ready for it.
Oof.
And at the risk of taking away my kid's privacy when they're not adults, I want my kid to understand that there are consequences for their choices, and I want to empower them to make choices for themselves. And I want them to consider, when I do this, what are the potential consequences? What are the pros? What are the cons? How am I going to feel afterwards?
I don't think this is a violation of privacy at all. I just mean like, I think it's like, it's a very like rich and nuanced thing. Like what does privacy look like in terms of like what kind of like, like you're like, obviously there's certain stuff I'm not going to ask for details on.
I feel like privacy will be the very low priority for me when it comes to my kids.
I have a vision of you taking their doors off the hinges.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'm not going to be a helicopter parent. I want to empower my kids to make choices, but I also want to be in the know. That like they might even not know we know, but we'll know. We'll always find out. Mom and dad are one step ahead of you.
Like the mafia.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of sex, we have a writer-inner, as we like to call them.
Okay.
Shall I read?
Shall.
All right. I am a 36-year-old divorced single mom. I have full custody of my 4-year-old daughter, so I have her 100% of the time. She's the light of my life, and she keeps me very busy. I haven't dated anyone post-divorce, and I haven't had sex with anyone besides my hand or my vibrator for a few years. I have a close group of friends and family, have a great job, own my own home, and feel very fulfilled in my life except for one thing that's missing: sex. I've been divorced for about 2 years now. The last several years of my marriage were bad, and our sex life was for the most part non-existent. So for a long time, I feel like that part of me was dead. I went through a period where I drank too much, gained weight, and dealt with some depression. But over the past year, I've done a lot of healing. I quit drinking a few months ago, have been consistently eating healthier and exercising again, and my sex drive has returned. The catch is, I don't want a relationship. I just want sex. Serious question. Does this mean I want to be a fuckboy, or do I just want to be with a fuckboy? How do I go about having casual sex while still being a responsible parent?
What does the responsible parent have anything to do with it?
Because she has full custody of her 4-year-old daughter, so she has her 100% of the time. I mean, I guess she could have a babysitter and like go to a hotel.
Well, if it's by my definition of is she a fuckboy, like if she starts having emotionless sex, the question is, will some of these guys start catching feelings? And if she's aware of a guy who likes her more than she might like them, but she continues to have sex with them because, for example, a lot of people, especially women, don't want to sleep around. They like the comfort of having consistent sex with one person. But if that one person is catching feelings and they communicate that, and you do the whole like, well, I'm not ready for a relationship, and I just, just want to I'm just getting out of divorce. I'm just focusing on me right now, but we can still have sex. Then you're a fuckboy. Because she's a woman who wants to have sex with men, then it's a little easier to find people, because men, on average, are more willing to have emotionless sex, but it's not universal. So she might find someone who's just down to just fuck her out And then as far as being a parent, just go to their place or make sure your kid's not there. It can't be that hard. They're only 4. Distance it from your kids and get on the apps. And I guess it's not going to be that hard for her to get laid.
Well, there's also, I was seeing this yesterday. I was doing a little swipe. There's literally a thing on Hinge, and that's the reason I swipe left on someone, is because they were saying that they were only looking for something short. And then there was like a subtitle underneath that was like, let's keep things fun and casual. And I was like, not what I'm looking for. But for someone like her, swipe right.
There's a lot of men who will comply with her request.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I think just like, the only other thing that I could imagine is like, since it is a little bit more like thought out of like kids going to grandparents' house or like hiring a babysitter, like being like, I need to make the most of the night. So I feel like maybe just making sure you're not putting pressure on yourself to hook up with someone you don't want to hook up with.
And just be aware of the fact that while you might feel this way now, your feelings might change. She might not anticipate catching feelings for someone. And again, not universally, but on average, women tend to be affected differently than men when it comes to sex. There's a bonding chemical that can be released. And so she might find herself having sex with a man and feeling like she's catching feelings. So just be prepared. Again, you can be sex positive, but it doesn't mean that sex isn't powerful and it doesn't have consequences. And so, you can make these statements that I'm just looking for sex. But like, if you start doing that, be okay with checking in with yourself, asking yourself, is this still what I want? Do I still feel the same way about this situation? How am I feeling about this kind of casual sex thing I've never done before? There's no right or wrong answer, but check in with yourself and make sure you're still feeling the same and you have the same goals, because I think we can tend to lie to ourselves. And maybe you want sex, but it's not just about just having sex. Maybe she wants sex, but also wants to avoid the stresses of a relationship or the heartbreak. But at the same time, she still wants the consistency of having regular sex. It can be very complicated. So just be prepared to check in with yourself on a regular basis once she starts going down this path, especially if it's something that she hasn't really gone down before.
Amen.
Godspeed.
And please keep us updated.
Yeah, let us know who you be fucking. All right, well, we have a great episode for you. Don't forget to send those questions at AskNick@theviallfiles.com for all things Ask Nick, texting office hours, mediation, you know the drill. We are back with another episode of Reality Recap with the one and only Paige DeSorbo from Summer House. We'll be getting into, obviously, a lot of Bravo stuff, a lot of pop culture, a lot of reality TV. It'll be a ton of fun talking with Paige. And yeah, let's get to our callers.
Question time with Nick. Let's ask Nick your sexy questions.
How's it going?
Good. It's Sarah. I'm 24 years old, and I am about to move in with my ex-boyfriend who will not speak to me.
Well, he's going to have to, don't you think? If you're also, what the fuck, Sarah?
So I am a grad student, and me and my ex-boyfriend are in the same grad program. And part of our graduate program, you study abroad in a house of 20 people for 4 months. So we will be living in the same house, have the same bathroom, eat all of our meals together, go to all of our classes together, living a complete life together.
Okay. All right. Who broke up with who? You seem fine.
I broke up with him.
Okay. Yeah.
I broke up with him. It was not the prettiest breakup by any means, but I was the one who ended it.
How long did you guys date for?
We dated for a little over a year.
Okay. So certainly enough for him to have his spirits crushed, I suppose. But
so we dated for a year. He was fully believing that we were going to get married, like be ready to move in together. And no.
Okay. Why did we break up?
So it was a lot of reasons. Everything was going really well, and we have about a year left to grad school, and I really want to move to a certain city after school.
Okay.
It is his least favorite city in the world. He said that like that would be his last place he would ever want to live. And so I brought up the idea. I was like,
New York.
Maybe I move there. Or no, he's actually from New York.
Really? I'm trying to.
Yeah. Do you have like a least favorite city? That feels like a very
I just feel
defining.
Like New York is just very polarizing one way or the other. You know, like you love it, and some people just have strong opinions about it. So
yeah,
San Francisco. Yeah. I won't guess.
Warmer, colder.
Anyway, well, that's important. That's
So I brought up maybe we do long distance because I only want to go for a few years before I move back home. And he basically said, I'll move there just because I want to make sure you don't meet someone there in those 2 years and then break up with me for them. And so I was like, okay, so you don't trust me at all. And after that conversation, we tried working things out, and it kind of just spiraled. And anytime I hung out with a guy friend, anytime I like smiled too much when talking to a person that wasn't him, he would complain and say, well, they make you happier than I am. So I was like, I can't like do this anymore.
Okay. So it's like a mixture of a little bit of jealousy and just more so a lack of confidence.
Yes. So he always says, I think he has like really bad trust issues in relationships, because he always told me, he was like, well, I think my ex-girlfriend cheated on me. So he never knew for sure. And even when I broke up with him, he was like, I know you didn't cheat on me, but it kind of felt like you did because I had guy friends.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I mean, that's his journey. I don't know. Like, you know, I can't dissect his feelings, I guess, right now. Fascinating story, but is there, what can I help with? Like, what are you struggling with?
When we ended things, we took a month away, and then we went and talked before studying abroad because I didn't want it to be extremely awkward. And he basically told me that he would rather never speak to me in the 4 months that we are in the same room than ever see me with someone else again. And it's kind of impossible because we will be group project partners and everything. So I was wondering, is it on me to be the bigger person to find a way to make him comfortable around me?
No.
Or should I just say, screw it, you're on your own abroad?
Listen, he's definitely not your responsibility. He's your ex, plain and simple.
Yeah.
So that doesn't mean at the same time that a little grace and a little empathy thrown his way wouldn't be beneficial for everyone. You know, but I don't think you should also stop living your life. You know, I think there's a happy medium to everything. He's going to be mad one way or the other, right? It just comes down to what are your intentions. Like at some point, I could see him be, you know, just annoying you, honestly, to the point where you almost want to spitefully rub something in his face, because clearly he's one of those, you know, I don't know if you ever watched Seinfeld. He's like a bad breaker-upper, you know, like obviously his feelings are hurt, and he is saying things and you know, kind of saying mean things, and not necessarily, doesn't sound like he's maybe called you names, but just accused you of doing something you haven't done. If you've listened to the show, you've heard me say when you break up with someone, you got to let them think you're the bad guy.
Yeah.
That is honestly the selfless thing to do. You don't be mean, you're just honest, and you let them hate you, you know, because sometimes they need to get angry, then they need to get sad, or I don't know which order these emotions come for people, but he's just going to have to go through it, right? So the best thing you can do is just, as much as you can, just be respectful when you guys are in the same room. But listen, if you meet a guy and you like him and things develop, you know, like you might have to have a conversation with the new guy, being like, yeah, listen, you know, I kind of live with my ex, but at the end of the day, you know, there's a happy medium between like making out and groping each other in front of anyone, including your ex, and just, you know, be like, hey, well, I met a guy, and focus on that relationship and take things slow. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just a happy medium. I don't think you need to accommodate his needs. He has no right to ask you to do anything. Like, your choice on being, you know, respectful and courteous is really just your choice. And I think, yeah, go out of your way to, you know, not rub shit in his face. But I don't think you need to meet his requests or needs, and I don't think you owe him anything. It's an awkward situation, you know, it's tough, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I think I feel worse for our mutual friends who are going with us, because we have like these weekend trip plans, and he's basically saying like, it's you go with her, you go with me, like we can't go together anymore. And like people have booked flights, hotel rooms, like everything. So like, what's your gut tell you? Who's, as far as the friends go, where do you think the loyalties lie? They were all my friends, and he became friends with them when we were dating. So I know I won't be the one getting uninvited.
Okay. So,
but part of me feels guilty that it could like ruin his whole trip.
That's entirely up to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the one choosing to make this a bigger deal and saying weird things like, you basically cheated on me for having guy friends. So, meh. Next.
I mean, listen, I don't want to sound like, you know, he's not right for saying this, but like his feelings are hurt. He cared about you. And like, I don't want to sit there and mock a guy with a broken heart.
We'll do it.
You can do that. But if it was the other way around, I could imagine, let's say he broke up with you and you called in and you're like, I don't know if he was cheating on me, but I just felt like he was always flirtatious. Let's say we heard his version, or let's say it was you, but you told his version, right? He broke up with you and you were just like, I don't know. I've been cheated on. Maybe it's a paranoia of mine, but like, he was always flirting with, women. And now we're on this trip together. We would be like, fuck this guy, Like, I'm just saying, like, I'm glad you're called in, and I don't think you owe him anything. But he does have feelings, and I don't think I don't know who he is, but I'm assuming he's not a bad guy. You dated him for a year. It sounds like you cared about him. You wanted to make it work. He has his flaws. He has his shortcomings, probably some things he needs to work on. There's a justifiable reason why you ended the relationship. So again, I don't think you owe him anything. I don't think you have to go out of your way to accommodate his needs. And I think you can be as gracious and as nice as it makes sense for you, where you're not like having to go above and beyond, type of thing, where all of a sudden you're like, it feels like I'm your girlfriend, like feels like a girlfriend request, like I'm going out of my way for you. I don't think you need to go out of your way, but there's a difference between going out of your way and just not rubbing it in his face and trying as much as you can to not put salt on a wound. Great that the loyalty of the friends are more with you, because at the end of the day, yes, he is just going to have to get over it. He's throwing a temper tantrum right now. I understand why. We've all thrown temper tantrums when we've had broken hearts. Man or woman, like it's a terrible feeling to have your heart broken. But other than that, I just think go have fun, do what you can, and he'll hopefully get over it. But that's entirely up to him.
The worst part is he says the reason why he won't speak to me is because he wants to get back together and I don't. And so he thinks it's unfair that I think it's okay to be in his life when he wants to get back together. And I'm like, can you just be mad at me and not want to get back together with me? Like, that make it easier.
Yeah, but like, listen, sure. But at the same time, it's not his job to make sure you're okay right now. And it's not his job to make life easier on you. Right now, he has a broken heart and he is spiraling and he doesn't even have the capacity to like think about what would be easier for you. And the good news is you don't have the broken heart. You just want to move on. You just want him to like get over it, because right now it's just a giant inconvenience to your otherwise like sounds like super fun life and super exciting thing you have planned. But like, it's okay to have empathy for him and just like, listen, he's just not your problem, but you can still have grace when it makes sense, and you can still be considerate, and you don't have to go out of your way to be considerate, and just don't respond. The best thing to handle him is to not react to him. Whatever he says, whatever he does, you just remind yourself, he's hurting, I'm not, and this is where it's coming from. Listen, if he disrespects you, if he calls you a name, you have every right to stand up for yourself and say, I don't deserve to be treated that way or talk to you that way. But other than that, I would just ignore him. I would just ignore his comments about getting back together. If he doesn't want to talk to you, he doesn't have to talk to you. Great. Honestly, best case for you.
Do you think it would be best to try and reach out before? Because we leave next week. Like,
what do you think?
We live in the same town, so easily be like, can we just talk before we go to clear the air so it's not extremely uncomfortable?
I don't know. Because I don't know him. If he is in the current state of mind that you say he's in now, all that conversation to him is going to sound like just a reminder of why you don't like him. So it's like, hey, let's get together so I can remind you that I don't want to be with you. And I can remind you that I'm not interested in doing this trip or this grad class with you. Like, what would you say? If he wants to reach out, fine. But
yeah, I think I just felt like really guilty because I knew it was up to me and one other person to plan all the trips. And I was like, I'm not texting him to invite him to these trips. It wouldn't be fair to text him to invite him. But I know he knows that we're going on them. So I think I feel like a lot of guilt that all of a sudden, the trip that we had dreamed of going on together when we were dating and we're going to study abroad is now not going to work out for him. So I'm like, maybe I should reach out and be like, this is why I didn't invite you. Of course, we have room if you want to come, but I would just wanted to reach out before and let you know, I don't want things to be awkward between us there.
Well, they're going to be awkward. I don't think if you sent a text of something, there's just no perfect way. So he's going to get mad either way. So like, is it better to call? Like, sure, I don't know, but he's going to be pissed either way. So like, just text. I'd keep it real simple. And I would send a text something like, yeah, just like, hey, listen, I'm sorry for reaching out. I know you don't want to speak, but I know we have this trip planned out. I just want you to know that whatever you want to include yourself in, I hope that you feel welcomed because, like, obviously we've planned this. I know things didn't work out between us, but I hope that this can still be an enjoyable experience for us as individuals.
That's good. Yeah.
Kind of keep it professional, keep it kind, and that's it.
As for work out so that we can enjoy it as individuals. I like that line. Yeah. That's good.
I want you to feel included and welcomed. This can still be a great experience.
Also, I feel like it's totally normal to have the feelings of like anxiety and guilt, especially when someone else or like when you're the one to end something and someone else is hurting. And then there's like this inclination of like, well, how can I make this, better for them? And how can I make this like not be so hard of a blow? And, you even now being like, how can I invite him to all these things? But also, yeah, I think the more you guys can each just be like, okay, we're each going to do ourselves. We're each going to, have this trip as individuals. And he doesn't necessarily owe it to you to like do what's comfortable, but also you don't need to sacrifice your trip to make him feel better. I just think it's like, it might be a little awkward at the beginning. You're going to try to figure out like your routine and what this looks like for the two of you now that you're not together. But I just think also remember that you deserve to have a great time on this trip as well, just as much as he does.
Okay.
I don't think she's worried about him. You seem fine.
But there's like this natural kind of guilt that you feel where you're like, oh God, like I'm the one that ended things and now they're hurting. It's hard.
Yeah, sure. I think it's just like, it sounds like there's some guilt for the other people.
So I'm like,
yeah. You've been broken up for 5 months?
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean, everything I said still stands, but
you thought it was like last week.
Kinda. I thought like within the past month.
No, 10 months ago.
Everything I said still stands, but I definitely wouldn't feel. I'd feel less bad, and you have the right to be annoyed at this point.
Yeah.
If things are really bad, you guys can call in together.
From abroad.
Yes. If you need a mediation call, be like, listen, I know this guy. It's a podcast. Like, you want to talk about why I don't want to be with you anymore.
Yeah, actually scrap the text. Bring us with you to the coffee shop.
Yeah, I think everything still stands, but the best thing you can do is not react to him. And ask your friends who are your friends to do the same. Just don't react. Don't kind of acknowledge his stuff. And like, if eventually, to them, he says some things that maybe, if he like talks some shit about you, like obviously I'm assuming they would defend you, but you're not together. You haven't been together. It's been 5 months. Like people have a right to break up and a right to move on. 5 months for a year relationship, that's a bit long, but I'm not going to sit there and knock people with a broken heart. Sometimes people have a hard time getting over people, and maybe you're just wonderful. How old is he?
He's 24 as well.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a tough age for men.
What's a tough age for anyone having a broken heart?
True. Yeah. It's a tough age in general. I hate being 24.
I think it's, what'd you say?
I hate being 24.
Are you 24 now?
Less than a month left, though. Thank God. No. This has been a tough year.
You're thriving. But
thanks, Nick. And so are you. We're excited for this.
Sarah, you are thriving.
I will say it's a really tough age for anyone. And, sure, maybe especially men. I don't know. But I would think for anyone when things don't go the way they had hoped and planned. You have a lot of dreams when you're in your early 20s and you're just not used to things not working out for you. And I think it's easy to, and have great expectations. And then, you just hopefully most of us are lucky and privileged enough to have lived charmed life where for the most part, our greatest disappointments are just small and inconsequential. And when shit like this happens, it can be very difficult, especially the more privileged and comfortable our lives are when we experience great loss early in our lives to really struggle with it. And maybe that's what he's going through. Again, not really your problem. All right. Well, Good luck. Fascinating story. Thanks for calling in. Please, I implore you to keep us posted when you're on this trip. Maybe an email if you have the time to call in, but let us know what the dynamic is like. We want to know how moody the Moody X is. We'll call him Moody X.
Will do.
All right. Well, have fun.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, all you busy people out there who have been avoiding going to the doctor because, well, you just don't have a doctor to go to. You left the nest of mom and dad. You haven't really had a need to go to the doctor, and then all of a sudden you wake up and there's like, what is that? Or maybe you have an ache, or maybe just been avoiding just the physicals that you should be getting once a year. Whatever it is, ZocDoc is here to make it super easy for you to find a doctor that not only takes your insurance, but they're available now and patient reviewed. It's such a great free app, by the way, to help you get the healthcare that you need.
ZocDoc is a free app where you can find amazing doctors and book appointments online. We're talking about booking appointments with thousands of top-rated, patient-reviewed doctors and specialists. You can filter specifically for ones who take your insurance, are located near you, and treat almost any condition you're searching for.
It's just a kind of a hassle finding a healthcare provider that works for you. But not with ZocDoc. ZocDoc makes it super easy.
So I was due for my 3-year kind of lady doctor appointment. Last person I went to was in Minnesota. She's now retired. I needed to find someone out here. And I was on the phone with my mom and she was saying, you really need to get on this because I guarantee you won't be able to find someone for weeks. I found someone. I'm meeting with her tomorrow.
If you are in need of a doctor, you got to check out ZocDoc. Go to ZocDoc.com/VIALL and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then find and book a top-rated doctor today. That is ZocDoc.com/VIALL. Again, that's ZocDoc.com/VIALL. You're probably someone who's just on the go, crushing your career, and you just don't have time to grocery shop, make meals, plan dinners, etc., etc. Well, the good news is you don't have to. With America's #1 meal kit, HelloFresh, they take all the hassle out of going to the grocery store, meal planning, oh, what should I make today? What should I make tomorrow? Oh, how do I make this? Well, HelloFresh has the fresh of ingredients with a variety of great tasting, easy to make dinners. So if you're someone who just is tired of eating out and going to restaurants, but you just either don't know how to cook or what to cook, HelloFresh will send these delicious meals directly to your door that you can make super easy to clean up, great ingredients. And if you've been enjoying every plate, well, that's not a surprise because they are owned by HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit.
Also makes a great gift. One of my friends moved to a new city and I'm thinking to myself, she's moving into a new apartment. She doesn't know anybody there. She's probably completely overwhelmed. So I sent her and her roommate a box of HelloFresh so that for their first week, they can make meals together, they can bond, but they also don't have to worry about grocery shopping. So even if you think you don't need it, odds are someone in your life probably does.
So thoughtful.
If you are in the need for a delicious, convenient meal with a bunch of different varieties, you gotta check out HelloFresh. Go to HelloFresh.com/50VIALL and use code 50VIALL. Again, that's HelloFresh.com/50VIALL and use code 50VIALL for 50% off plus free shipping. How's it going?
My name's Jenny. I'm 34, and my person left to find herself in London over the next couple of months.
Okay. What makes you think or say that she is your person?
Yeah, well, when you get to this age, as I'm sure you know, Nick, I've dated a lot of people and been through life, right, and gotten some scars along the way. And this particular person is someone I've known since I was 12. Actually, we grew up together, went to school together. Had periods of time where we weren't as connected, did our own thing, but it seemed like life kept bringing us back together in certain ways. And we were living in different parts of California. About a year and a half ago, she ended up moving down to Southern California, and we reconnected and then just kind of hit the ground running. And it felt like this was it. It felt like a sure thing, which we had both expressed. And then over the last month, things became a little tumultuous. She had a milestone birthday, and it felt like everything just went sideways.
Okay. How old is she?
She just turned 35.
Okay. You're only 34. And yeah. I don't know what your individual hopes and dreams are. I don't know if you want to have a family or have kids, or, and I understand as women, that's a little different as you get older. I get all that.
Mm-hmm.
Nevertheless, when you're like, oh, at my age, you sound like you're talking like you're 60, like
that's true.
So I get it, like I've always said, this is the oldest you've ever been. You've never been 34. I'm sure when you were 22, 34 felt really old, and now you're like, fuck, I'm 34. I can't believe it. I get it. But now's not the time to lose all perspective, which is easy to do when we're hurting and we're sad and we're disappointed. Now, back to your alleged soulmate or person.
Sure.
Are you guys still together?
No,
okay.
She ended things.
She ended it. Okay,
she ended it 5 days before she left.
Okay,
which was shocking. Yeah.
So, and I'm sorry, and that sucks. You need to stop calling her your person. That's step one. We just really have to prioritize the quality of someone wanting to be with us. And we need to prioritize the quality of someone who doesn't need to jump ship, fly across the world to find themselves. Finding themselves is just what it is a nicer way of saying, I feel like only worrying about myself and being selfish right now.
And she said that, which, I admire the honesty. And, there are a lot of other things going on in her life, and
such as,
some health scares, ending a career that had been really successful, and then figuring out what her next steps are, admitting that she's had a bit of an existential crisis that she's working through with her therapist, and has been honest about needing the time and space to figure out what she wants her life to look like. The thing that's getting me is that she kept insisting that she wants to be friends on the other side of this. There's still a bunch of her stuff at my house, so it's feeling like she wants to keep me tethered, and I don't know how to necessarily move on. And I even floated the question to her, right? I was like, do you feel like all this other chaos, all these other questions in your life could have bled into this and your decision-making here? And she felt like that wasn't a possibility because she's so good at compartmentalizing. Whether that's something to brag about, I don't know. But yeah, that was the answer.
I don't know if she's bragging. It could just be something her, people are and can be. She's also probably not in a position to answer your question. It's tough, right? When we're breaking up with someone, and in her case, she is being vulnerable with the fact that she's just like, I'm not my best self right now. I'm not happy. I'm not secure with myself. Health scares can fuck up anyone. Certainly dramatic career changes in your 30s can, fuck you up, kind of with your confidence. So sounds like she has a right to feel like a mess. It sounds like she's giving her most honest answer that she's capable of giving right now. What's really important for you right now is as hard as it is and as sad as you are, to now you have to start prioritizing yourself. I think we do this thing in relationships, especially ones that end, or situationships or things like that, where one person who probably usually has the power only because maybe they're confused, right? And like you naturally, when one person is confused about their feelings and the other person claims to be certain about their feelings, weirdly, the confused person seems to have more power because the other person wants something that they claim to be sure about. And we do this thing where you feel like on your end, you are at risk, I guess, of trying to be the caretaker of the relationship that technically, as it stands now, doesn't exist. But people will say things like, I want to be friends and I'm struggling and I want you to be happy. And they might even say things like, well, I don't know what the future's going to hold and who knows what could happen. And maybe things will all work out, and this is like, they're not lying per se, because she probably doesn't know, she probably is uncertain of her future. And then part of you wants to hear the fact that she is maybe willing to consider a relationship with you in the future. The most honest and selfless answer she could give you might not be what you want to hear, which is, I can't possibly think about the future right now. I don't want to give you false hope. And I just need to focus on me, and I'm just trying to get to tomorrow. That would be the most honest answer she could give you. when we're breaking up with someone, it's either like we're either going to be accused of being an asshole for being like heartless and being kind of crass with kind of like, yeah, I don't think there's going to be a future, or be accused of leading someone on or saying things we don't mean. Like, I hope, who knows? Like, it's kind of a no-win situation. The point is, like, it's not your job to protect this relationship that doesn't exist. It's not your job to put yourself on hold and think to yourself, well, I'm confident in myself. I know what I want. I want her. She's struggling right now. I was doing the Girls Gotta Eat podcast. We were talking about relationships, and I kind of coined the phrase love martyr. And I referred to myself. And I said, when I was 20, I was like a love martyr. We're told love is grand and it's hard. We got to make it work. And, if you have any kind of religious background like I have, like, you're told that suffering is good and it's going to get you to heaven if you're a Catholic. And so you combine that with love, and all of a sudden you're thinking, well, the more I make myself suffer and the more I fight for this relationship, the better I am, or the more in love is, the more it's worth it. You become a martyr for your own love story, and that's not getting you anywhere, So what you need to say to her is, I'm so sorry. I'm heartbroken, but I can't be your friend because I care about you. I love you. And even if I want to be your friend, I'm not capable of being your friend. And I don't want to disrespect what we had as lovers or whatever you want to call yourselves. And it's not because I don't want to be there for you. And it's not there. I wish I could also be your friend because, I really loved being your partner and your friend, but I can't separate the two. So I hope that you find yourself. I wish you all the best. And I'm going to live my life and move on. And I guess if your feelings change, call me up and hopefully we'll see, kind of take that power back by you accepting her decision and start talking about, all right, now you have a journey to go on and you don't know what the future is going to hold. And you can't make promises to her about how you're going to feel if she ever does pick up the phone and call you back. And she will call you back. But the more unavailable you are to her, the more value you will have to her.
And I think I've known that this is ultimately the answer. It's going to suck, right? But that's ultimately what needs to happen. And that's where growth happens too. And I don't know how I'm going to feel on the other side of this. So I have to give myself that allowance also. Yeah.
And listen, you got really excited. There was a lot of things to be excited about. I've known her since she was 12. Completely useless information. Who gives a shit? I'm not trying to, but like,
no,
what you two did at 13 has nothing to do with what your relationship was like. It was a fun story to tell when you were dating. I get it. Like, it's fun to tell people, hey, like, obviously we knew each other as kids and then we lost touch and I get that. But now you're not together. So it's just not doing you any good by ruminating and being nostalgic about how you two met and thinking it was like some sort of kismic or serendipitous thing and you were meant to be.
Yeah, it's easy to lean into that romantic notion, right? But it's
so easy. Right. And we've all done that, but it's not doing you any good right now. And now to get her back, and I don't want you focusing on getting her back, but to get her back is about you moving on and accepting her decision. What's so crazy about like being broken up with is because our instincts tell us the opposite. But the best thing for you as an individual is also the best thing for you two as a couple. And that is her maybe needing a kind of a reset about what you mean to her. On some level, she's taking you for granted. And listen, maybe you're just not, she's not your person and you're not hers. That's also a possibility. But she doesn't want to be with you. She clearly isn't valuing what you've brought to a relationship. That should matter to you. You deserve someone who, is willing to go through their personal struggles and still not quit on the relationship.
It sounds simple, right?
It does. But, there are people out there who can give that to you. And that's what I'm saying. It's just like, I'm not saying you should like make her feel worse about her struggles. But I do think in your mind, you need to hold her accountable for not being the partner that you deserve. like at some point you are going to have your struggles. I don't know, like life happens. At some point we all have health problems. I don't know when that is, and hopefully for you, not for a long time. But at some point it's going to happen. And there's a reason why, you know, regardless of what you believe or what ceremony you have, that usually most like vows when it comes to marriage, and I don't know if that's something you two were interested in, you know, in sickness and health, you know, shit like that. You know, good times and bad.
It also made me realize I don't want someone that runs when things get a little hard.
Exactly.
You know? Like you're saying, we're both going to have struggles, ups and downs, career wise, health wise, family wise, whatever it is. It's, you know, she tends to run away and I tend to lean in.
Yeah.
So we have different styles there.
Well,
so,
yeah, I would say that's more than different styles. I would say that's, you know, potentially a non-negotiable about your compatibility. It could have been something you guys could work on, but that's not what she's doing. And she is getting therapy, and that's not bringing you two closer together. It sounds like you had a ton of chemistry, but maybe the compatibility, which is far more important in the long run, wasn't there as much as you might have hoped.
Yeah, it's just accepting that, I guess.
Yeah.
But
it's tough.
This is all what I've known. I just needed to hear it back, right?
How long have you been broken up for?
Not even 2 weeks.
How long did you date?
Year and 3 months or so.
Yeah. So like you're just in it right now. Like whatever feeling you're feeling is valid. It sucks. I mean, I don't know, like shit. When I was in your position, I hated waking up. You know, I went to bed exhausted from just being sad, and it was just a fucking struggle, you know, but the best thing you can do for yourself is just not make it worse by mentally, you know, telling yourself, I lost my person, but I don't understand. We've known each other since we were 12. What is she doing? She realize how great we have it? You know, we do these things and we just don't want to accept, you know, that maybe we were wrong about how compatible we were. And the more you can just try to just allow yourself to be sad or be angry or feel whatever you want to feel, it's totally valid, but accept her decision and her words at face value. Don't try to understand them. Don't try to dissect them. And if she does communicate with you, you need to start communicating and enforcing whatever boundaries you want to set for yourself in this new relationship, the relationship being that you're no longer partners and you're not friends. Most people in your shoes will would let them be the driver. Oh, well, if they want to be friends with me, then I'll be friends with them. Or if they want to hang out with me, then I'll hang out with them. Again, they have all the power. So decide for yourself what boundaries and expectations you have of this relationship, what lines you want to draw. And I'm hoping it's not be friends, and let her, you know, wish her the best and just say, hey, I love you. I care about you. I hope you find what you're looking for. If you ever want to reconsider being a partner, obviously, as it stands now, I want to be with you. But right now, I'm focusing on moving on because that's what I need to do. And all my energy is going to go towards moving on. And, you know, if things change for you, let me know. And I hope I still feel the same, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's the answer I've known. I've been scared to do it, but I know that's the right thing. So.
Yeah, it's tough. You're in a tough situation.
It's tough, yeah.
Give yourself time. Just allow yourself to grieve, but
yeah, day by day.
Yeah, it's only been 2 weeks. If in 3 or 4 months you're still in this state of mind, you're doing something wrong. But right now it's so early and so raw.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm in therapy too, and you know, I've just been trying to work on myself and just read a lot, reading your book, reading Atomic Habits, doing a lot. So you know, doing what I can in this time to become better. Also,
it's so early. So just allow yourself to be sad. It's okay. You know, like there's no.
Yeah.
Like, I'm glad you're doing the work and thank you for reading my book and I'm glad you're investing in yourself. But like it is also okay this early to just have a bad day. You know, it's okay to relapse, but you just have to police yourself, you know, give yourself a day and then just be like, you know what, fake it till you make it, things like that. When you get out there, you know, and it feels like uncomfy or just like too early, take a break for a week or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, take it easy on yourself. Don't try to force it. After a few months, but like it's only been 2 weeks. And I think you're going to be okay. It's just really raw right now.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for the words of wisdom. It's what I needed to hear. So
All right,
I appreciate it.
Best of luck. I'm sorry you're hurting and going through it, but the best thing you can do is to stop telling yourself that she was your person.
Yep. Get that narrative out of my head.
Yeah. You're only 34, and only takes one. You're only looking for one. And I understand that maybe 22-year-old you would have preferred to find your person at 28 or 29. But whenever you find that person, make sure it's the right one. And if you find that actual person who you really have several points of compatibility with, you will always think it was worth the wait. It might not be what you expected or wanted, but you will always think whenever you find that person, it was worth the wait. So just focus on that. It doesn't do yourself any good to, I'm 34, and I can't believe this has happened to me. And I've had, oh my God, another failed relationship. Get in line.
Mm-hmm.
We've kind of, welcome to our club. But yeah.
Good perspective.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
You too. All right.
Take care.
All right. Bye-bye. Helix Sleep. God, it's just like every time I get to talk to you about Helix Sleep, I just get excited. I get emotional. It's just a real personal endeavor for me. It's the best mattress I've ever slept on. I stand by it. I will always sleep on a Helix mattress for the rest of my life. I have now hate sleeping in hotels. I hate leaving my bed. The best thing about traveling is coming home to my bed. And what's crazy about Helix is how affordable their mattress is, how easy it is to shop. They have a variety of mattresses for everyone, whether you're a big, tall, wide person, short person, you sleep hot, you sleep cold, you sleep on your side, you sleep on your back, you sleep on your stomach. They have a mattress for everyone. And it's easy to find that. You just go to helixsleep.com, answer a couple simple questions about your sleeping preferences, and they will match you with a mattress that's right for you. I have the Moonlight mattress for anyone who's interested in knowing that. And the best part about Helix Sleep is you don't have to take my word for it. You get to trial it for 100 nights. All their mattresses come with a 10 to 15-year warranty, depending on the mattress. It's the #1 mattress picked by GQ and Wired Magazine. And the best part is right now, Helix is offering 25% off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows to our listeners in honor of Labor Day. So go to helixsleep.com/VIALL and use code HelixPartner25. This is the best offer yet, and it won't last long. With Helix, better sleep starts now. Again, helixsleep.com/VIALL and use code HelixPartner25 for 25% off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows. Hey, all you people who are trying to defy Father Time and avoid aging, well, I got an incredible new skincare product for you. It's called OneSkin.
It was founded by a team of 4 female PhD-level longevity scientists with over 15 years of experience studying the biology of aging.
After testing thousands of peptides, they discovered OS1. The OS1 peptide is scientifically proven to target aged, also called senescent cells, the main source of skin aging, which actually reduces the biological age of skin by several years. Their flagship product, the OS1 Face, is clinically validated to improve firmness, fine lines, overall tone, and appearance.
Well, if you want to take better care of your skin and fight against the effects of aging, you have got to try OneSkin. OneSkin is for everyone that wants to prevent and or reverse the signs of aging with a groundbreaking approach. OneSkin addresses skin health at the molecular level, targeting the root causes of aging so skin behaves, feels, and appears younger. They have a great facial cleanser. They also have products for your body. I've tried it all. It's really cutting edge. You too can enjoy the effects of fighting against aging with OneSkin. It's time for you to experience a new skin health routine at a discounted rate today. Get 15% off with code VIALL at oneskin.co. That's 15% off at oneskin.co with code VIALL. We only have one body, one skin, and you can choose to make it better. Age healthily with OneSkin. How's it going?
Hi, I'm Steven, 44 years old.
And I'm Julie, and I'm 45 years old. And I'm here to get help on ending potentially a 6-year long distance situationship.
All right. So you two are in this long distance situationship.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. This is my dream call. This is surely, what a gift. All right. So how do I want to start this?
A lot of pressure.
Yeah, right.
This is what you've been asking for months,
What a
and now
dream.
you're not ready for it.
I know. Why? Who wants? Is it mutual in terms of wanting to end it? Why is it a situationship?
I would say it's a situationship because nothing's been defined as more than friends or friends with benefits, which I do not want to be, but unfortunately, that's kind of where I've been for a while.
Okay.
I'm the hopeful one this relationship, friendship, situationship. And Stephen and I have been friends for a very long time, since high school. So this goes back quite a while considering we're 44 and 45.
Okay.
So we just need help. I don't necessarily think it's wanting to end a friendship more than it's wanting to end a situationship.
Sure. Well, that was going to be my next question. Who's the hopeful one? So we've identified that. Julie, I'm assuming, how have you tried to turn this situationship into a relationship? Well, despite it being long distance, you've wanted to do that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Multiple conversations, visiting one another, just, many text messages along the way, lots of tears, trying to buy my way through, but not successful.
Okay.
He is not giving in to my wants.
Stephen, what the fuck? I'm just kidding. You're here, right? So it's not easy to get two people in a situationship on a call like this because there is a hopeful person and there's another person who's just like, I don't want to be the bad guy. But you're here. You clearly care about her. But I am curious, as much as I'm happy that you were willing to join this call, why were you willing to jump on this call? I'm sure Julie, being the hopeful person, I'm going to go ahead and guess that she has a lot of hope that this call will make it go one way or the other. What are you hoping to get out of this call?
We've talked about, and I think joked about, being on some kind of podcast radio show about a situationship. We've kind of joked about it when she learned about the phrase a long time ago.
Okay.
We've always had a great friendship all this time. And
what are you looking
at? Change it.
Do you, what's your relationship history, Stephen? have you been single your whole life? Are you divorced? Do you have kids? You guys are in your 40s.
So
what's your history? Twice divorced.
Yeah,
okay.
Twice divorced. I got kids. I was in the military, so I moved a lot.
Okay.
I've lived all across the country. She's been well aware of that. She also knows I don't like long distance relationships, basically because of the military, and I was always just moving, so it was hard to settle down and have a solid relationship. So I just never could commit to having a relationship with her, being so far away and never knowing when I'm going to pick up and move again.
And are you still in the military?
No, I'm out now.
Okay. So your requirement to move most likely not as volatile, or do you still have a career where you might have to pick up and move again?
It's very slim to none now.
Okay.
Of needing to move.
How far apart are you two?
4 hours.
Drive or plane?
Drive.
Okay. Not that far. Stephen, what do you get out of this friendship, this situationship? Why are you invested in this relationship?
We have a very close relationship. We talk about our kids, our families, our professional lives, what we deal with in our professional lives. So we bounce things off each other. And then we also have the sexual side of relationship, either physical or through phone calls, video calls.
Okay. That sounds like a fun relationship. What would you be giving up by saying to yourself, you know what, fuck it. Let's just go ahead. Let's try it out. I've been watching this preview of this movie for years. I never really pressed play on this movie. I really don't know if I'm going to like it. I don't know if it's going to work out. I might press play and, not really like the movie, but I'm going to press play. I'm going to start it. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to get in this relationship. What would you be giving up? What would you be sacrificing if you just said, fuck it, let's just try? It's not ideal. It's not exactly what I wished for myself, but I do care about this person, so I'm going to try.
I really want to be sacrificing anything, really.
Okay.
It's just being alone.
What do you mean being alone?
So because of distance,
yeah,
I could easily go out and do whatever. And, committed to one relationship. It's harder to do long distance, a lot easier to do when that person is in the same town.
Do you know what your love language is, Stephen?
Probably say physical touch.
Okay. Maybe also even quality time. Because it sounds like to me, actually, what you would be giving up is the freedom to have quality time with someone at any point, and the consistency of that quality time and physical touch whenever you might need. And the flexibility of going on the dating apps when Julie is 4 hours away. And are you on the dating apps?
Not now, no.
No. How often are you going on dates? When Julie's out of town, and she's at home and you're at home and she can't, or, you can't drive there or she can't drive there and you're feeling lonely and you want to go out and you want some companionship. How often are you taking advantage of that independence and freedom that you currently have?
That would probably, when I was doing it, easily 3-4 times a week.
When you were doing that? When was that?
Probably like last year.
Okay, sure. When did that stop?
Beginning of this year when I started seeing someone.
But not Julie.
Correct.
Are you still seeing her now?
Correct.
Oh, you are?
Yes.
So you're in a relationship with someone else?
Yes.
Does she know about Julie?
Not to this extent, no.
Okay.
She does. Well, when I first started talking, I did say I do have a female friend that's very close with that I've talked through many years, but not to the extent it is actually.
Well, like that you're having sex with her.
Correct.
Okay. All right. I appreciate your honesty. I know it's not super easy. I guess, Julie, I'll kick it back to you. You are hopeful to be in a relationship with someone, and I'm just going to be direct here, who is actively not being honest with someone they are in a relationship with.
Yes, correct.
And I guess, Stephen, like, what the fuck? What? Pick one. Like, why are you in a relationship with this person? You guys called in. You're in the situationship. I didn't know anything. And usually, when someone's in a situationship, being you, Stephen, not the hopeful person, the general overall theme is, listen, relationships take work. And as you kind of alluded to indirectly, listen, I don't want to give up the freedom I have to go out and date and meet other people. But you are in a relationship, and relationships take work. So, but why? What made you be in the relationship that you're in now? Is it just because she's local?
So this has been an ongoing thing for past 6 years or longer. I'd be in a relationship. We wouldn't, Julie and I wouldn't talk. And then after it ends, we would talk again. And then I would get to another relationship and Julie and I would stop talking. So it's just a kind of a back and forth game. It's been like that for years.
Sure. But so I guess now that you've been dating this person, have you had sex?
With this person?
No, with
Julie.
With Julie. Have you? You haven't. Okay.
No.
So you haven't physically cheated. You've only been emotionally cheating on your girlfriend.
Correct.
Okay.
Until
what? Julie, step in, please. Share.
Until this weekend.
So you're planning on seeing each other this weekend?
I think the expectation is Stephen's coming into town this weekend, not for the purpose of seeing me, but will be local. And the expectation is that we will see one another, and I'm certain that there will be some amazing sex.
Well, why, Julie?
Why would it be amazing sex, or why would I be willing to meet with him, or all the above?
The latter. Why would you be willing to meet with and have sex with someone who's in a relationship?
I don't know. I struggle with that because it is not the right thing to do, and I would not want to be that other woman on the other end of that. However, having history and the connection that Stephen and I do have, it makes that opportunity to turn it down difficult to do. Always has.
Sure. Definitely understand that it's difficult, but you are disrespecting the relationship you two have, let alone the relationship he has, but just yourself. And just, earmuffs, Stephen. You having sex with him this weekend isn't going to get him to choose you. And it's not.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
It hasn't worked before.
Yeah. My guess is, just going to go out on a limb, that in the past 6 years, Steven's most likely called the shots. If you've heard me talk about situationships, most likely you have hung out with Steven at his convenience. I'm sure, Steven, you've tried to be empathetic, and I'm sure you care about Julie, but at the end of the day, she's giving you most of the power in this relationship, and we're all human beings, and when people give us power, we tend not to give it back. We tend to hold on to it, because life's a little easier when we get to call the shots, and when we can say, I'm busy, I have other priorities, I have other things going on, I can't meet your emotional or physical needs or whatever, and you have no fear that she's going to go anywhere. And so you can tell her no at any point. And why would you give that up? It's really kind of on you at this point, Julie, to set and enforce your boundaries, because the only thing that's going to get Steven to come around on you is to realize he can't have you in his life anymore, but you clearly bring value to each other's lives. Steven's not appreciating the value you bring to his life. And you haven't given him a reason to appreciate it. It's just there. I wouldn't appreciate something that was just always there and cost me nothing. So I don't see the upside of allowing Steven to come over and have sex with you and then go back to his girlfriend. Also, back to you, Steven. Why don't you break up with your girlfriend before you plan on doing this, potentially?
Because like what you said, there's that control. Why would you give that up? Typically, every conversation that Julie and I have had, it always leads to sex in some form or fashion. Yeah. Either we're joking or we're just serious about it.
Sure.
It's just always been that way.
But don't you care about your, I guess, your character? I mean, yeah, I wouldn't give up power, but like, if you're even considering having sex with Julia this weekend, like, why are you in this other relationship, which takes, I'm assuming, a lot of work and energy? Why not just be in a situationship with the other girl? Yeah, you have the power, and as a human being, I get not giving that up, but also, like, I don't know if your character matters to you, but I assume it does. How does this benefit your character?
So it doesn't.
Okay.
So because of this character flaw, you can say, I actually checked myself into the VA hospital years ago.
Okay.
Because of this character flaw, I've lost a marriage and kids.
Okay.
And it led me to a dark hole, to where something I couldn't shake, because I always pulled to that. If it wasn't with Julie, it was with someone else. And so it's just this character issue that I've always dealt with. But I've also almost at the same time, well, I wouldn't say I always gotten away with it, because I have gotten caught.
Yeah. Like, what did they do at the VA? Did you get therapy or? Yeah,
I saw a therapist for a full year, 2 therapists for a full year.
And how'd that work out for you?
It helped out. It helped out quite a bit.
And then you stopped, or?
Well, I stopped going to the therapist. Obviously, I haven't stopped that character flaw.
Yeah, but you stopped therapy.
Get eaten up by it.
Yeah.
But
why'd you stop therapy?
I had moved from one part of the country to the other, and I really didn't need the medication anymore, and I had just a lot of things had improved and gotten better to where I didn't need to.
Well, I guess I don't have the full scope as to what you're speaking to, but we're talking about your ability to not be unfaithful and loyal to the people that you claim to be loyal to. And again, I don't know what medication, or I don't know anything about that, but
Correct.
That flaw that we're speaking of, it sounds like, as you claimed, still exists. I feel like, just in my humble opinion, the people who get the most value out of therapy are the people who treat it like the same as people who prioritize their, physical fitness and consistently, go to the gym or work out, And so to me, the people who get the most benefit out of therapy are the ones who treat it like maintenance that stick with it. They don't treat it like a diet. They treat it like a life choice. So this problem that you refer to as a problem, this thing you have, chances are, you're 40 some years old and it ain't going away. So you have to decide to yourself, do I want to be this person or not? And maybe not being this person is sticking with therapy. And it really just comes down to like, what kind of person do you want to be? And it sounds like you, Stephen, have just like, as a 40-year-old, been like, this is who I am. Unfortunately, this who you are, this one trait is something that I'm assuming not only hurts people around you, but hurts yourself on some level. I mean, you don't seem like a sociopath, so I'm assuming hurting other people you care about hurts your feelings, right?
Correct, yes.
So what do you want to do about it,
So Julie and I did talk, a month or two ago, and it was, okay, this is it. Done.
Yeah. What happened?
And I believe I stated that done. Well, there was the either some form of contact through text message or email in hopes that I would see it and respond. We typically contact each other on National Best Friends Day. I think that's when it came out, right, Julie? But there was a line drawn to say, hey, that's it. And yet she still came back to say, I miss you. I still love you. I will always love you. And now we're back to, hey, I'm driving up there this weekend. Here we go.
Well, neither of you respect yourselves or each other as much as you claim. Julie, I don't think you're respecting yourself by ignoring a boundary you've tried to set by saying no to Stephen. Stephen, you're not respecting Julie or yourself by putting this on her, being like, oh, well, she reached out to me on National Best Friends Day. Well, what am I supposed to do about it? Like, she's the one who said she didn't, want to be in a relationship. I guess she just loves my dick. You can help other people enforce their boundaries. And you're not best friends. Newsflash to both of you. You're just not. You care about each other.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, I hope. Yeah. You're just lying to yourselves about what this is, and you're torturing yourselves. And that's more for you, Julie, because you truly are torturing yourself. You are accepting his low character choices, and they're becoming your low character choices. And you are an adult woman. And despite your feelings for Stephen, you are letting him define you as a person. And you are capable for making choices for yourself. He is not making you do anything. I don't care how great his dick is. He is not putting a spell over you.
I don't know.
I promise you. I promise you.
No, I agree. And I think, like Stephen was saying, where, we had the conversation of, hey, this is it. No more. After a bit of ghosting, after he blocked me on, various social media platforms. And I thought that I would try a different avenue. So I emailed him, and then I emailed him from a separate email address that probably wasn't blocked that I have, because I have a few emails. I'm running out of them now because he keeps blocking them over time, but just trying to keep that connection, because I don't want to lose him as a friend, because we've shared so much. There's so much history. And so I know that I struggle walking away, and I know that he knows I struggle with that.
Well, I mean, I will say him blocking you, I mean, I don't know what Stephen's intentions are, but I'd like to think that that's him actually trying to respect your boundary. And listen, as people, friendships end, relationships end. That is a part of it. And we love to convince ourselves that, oh, we need to stick in it because we have so much history, but you're not the only one who's had to get over someone and had to let go of long history. People are in marriages and things like that. It's not fair, and it sucks, and I empathize with you. Your history with Stephen, I guess it's just my opinion, isn't more important than you protecting your character. If you're a beautiful person, you look like you have a lot to offer anyone who wants to be in a relationship with you, and you are giving it all to him because of history? Because what's that? Let's say you ignore all my advice, which, honestly, wouldn't shock me. But let's say ignore my advice. You guys have you fuck all weekend. He cheats on his girlfriend with you. I'm assuming the person of your dreams isn't someone who would want to cheat on their partner. I'm assuming the person of your dreams isn't someone who can, good for you, Stephen, for acknowledging it, but like has this kind of flaw that he really needs to work on, that, and good for you, for Stephen, for acknowledging it. Good for you for having tried to work on it in the past, but you have stopped working on it. And you have given up on working on it right now. And if you want my unexpert and humble opinion, even if Stephen was willing to be your boyfriend right now, Julie, I don't think Stephen's in a position to be the boyfriend that you deserve right now. It sounds like Stephen has a lot of work to do on himself. And I personally don't think Stephen should be with anyone right now, because right now he's not capable, by his own admission, of being faithful and being upfront. He's got these demons he needs to work on. I promise you, a relationship with Stephen right now would bring you a lot of heartache and pain and confusion and frustration and sadness. And I don't know what you want out of a relationship, but I'm assuming it's not those feelings. If you cared about, and I'm sorry, Julie, I hope you're not mad at me for saying this, but if you really cared about Julie, Stephen, you would enforce the boundaries she claims to want to set for herself. You would just stop talking to her. You would actually cut her off. And if you cared about yourself, you would probably break up with your now girlfriend as well, and really invest in fixing this thing. You are capable of being the person I hope that you want to be. You're not prioritizing it right now. And until you do, you're just not going to change. And then Julie, like, again, you clearly, I think you're a wonderful person, but you have some toxic traits and you have some self-destructive traits. And it sounds like you have some work to do on yourself. But right now, this is just a mess. And not only are you hurting each other, you're hurting other people. There's just nothing good going on here. And it's just some occasional sex. And clearly, you're refusing to see other people, Julie. Why? If you're in a situationship, you're not in a relationship, and so you're single. And taking yourself off the market in the history of situationships has never worked. Ever. You have literally no downside to just seeing what else is out there, other than your own stubbornness. And your stubbornness hasn't gotten him to be in a relationship with you.
No.
What's the definition of insanity?
I do think that is stubbornness. Maybe some, trauma in the past that kind of prevents me from wanting to branch out, meet other people.
Sure. But, do you want to be happy?
Yes.
You're not doing things to bring you happiness. And Stephen isn't making you happy. He's a sugar fix. You're addicted to each other. It's not healthy. It's not bringing you joy. It's not bringing you any sense of happiness. It is just bringing you a momentary fix.
And I think some of the trauma that I've experienced from this situationship, being the hopeful one, also deters me from looking for someone else, because I don't want to go through those same things with someone else.
Such as
can be challenging.
Such as
the trauma.
Well, I mean, don't divulge anything you're not comfortable with, but when you say what's stopping you from, like, what do you mean? I guess to me, nothing sounds more torturous and painful than what you're putting through yourself right now. So I'm having a hard time understanding why a coffee date might be worse than what you're experiencing in this moment.
Well, I don't necessarily think a coffee date is worse than what I'm experiencing in this moment. But I think the fear that the same thing's going to happen, and now it's going to happen with someone else. So then it's that repeat pattern.
What's the difference between having multiple situationships or one situationship? What's the difference?
Because I don't want to have sex with a bunch of people. I'm not interested in that. That's not me.
Okay. That's fair.
I'm 45 years old and I've had sex with 5 men in my life. So that's a pretty small number of people.
And that matters to you because why?
I don't know. I think it just is just who I am. I'm just not, I've gone through some childhood sexual trauma. So that could be part of it.
Understood. And I guess I get that, but I guess and I don't know if it's like a religious background, but like whether you have slept with 5 or 6 people or,
100.
Or 100. Yeah. I mean, like, it doesn't make it, because you're implying that, you say that's not who I am. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But is who you are someone who would have sex with someone who's in a relationship?
It is who I am today, yes. But not typically, no.
And who do you want to be?
I don't want to be someone that is the other woman.
Okay.
I don't want to be the other woman either way.
And what's more important to you, not being the other woman or possibly having a sixth or seventh sexual partner, if that is something that you want and feel comfortable with choosing to do?
I'm not sure.
I'm sorry you've experienced whatever trauma or pain in your life, but I just don't want you to use it as an excuse for why you're making these decisions not to be happy. Like, the difference between right and wrong.
Correct.
And listen, life's full of tough choices, and you have some tough choices to make. And listen, Stephen, you see the pain she's going through. It makes her sad. She cares about you. I just think until you are capable of giving what she wants and deserves in a relationship and that's to anyone, I just hope both of you, but at least one of you, enforces this boundary. I hope one of you shows enough love for yourselves as individuals and for each other by saying no to this weekend. Nothing good's going to come of it. It's just not. Masturbate, just get it over with.
Can we do that together?
No, you can't.
Okay.
But listen, what you're experiencing now is understandable, but I'm guessing you're probably experiencing a lot of loneliness. You have refused to put yourself out there. You have refused to go on a date. You have cut yourself off from the world. You've given all your emotional attention to a guy who doesn't deserve it. And that is on you, Julie,
Mm-hmm.
And so the good news is so much of the pain that you're feeling is solvable. There's a little, you're not doing anything to help yourself. You're in this kind of like loving to hurt so good, as I call it. I've been there, it's like all you're really used to is the pain, and you've weirdly just become comfortable with it. Pain is like a feeling you're familiar with. At least it's feeling something, because the only thing that the brain hurts more than pain is boredom. And he's certainly not boring, but it is causing you pain.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just going to have to one day, Julie, wake up and look in the mirror and say, I'm tired of feeling pain. I'm tired of feeling sad. I want to feel happy. What do I have to do? And it's going to take some courage to be happy. Are you currently in therapy? Did you mention that you were? Are you not? Yes,
I have been previously, but no, I'm not currently.
Well, everything I said to Stephen applies to you, like our demons don't just like go away in 6 or 7 months. And so you have to be committed to sticking with helping yourself. Good for you for going to therapy when you went, but it sounds like you need to get back in there.
Mm-hmm.
I also think, Julie, it could be really helpful to be in therapy when you decide to open yourself back up to dating, to meeting other people. I think it is extremely triggering and hard to go on dates with people, to think about, getting physical with people that you don't know, because it's hard when you have someone like Stephen who you've known for a really long time and you trust him and you know that he won't do things to you that have unfortunately been done to you in the past. But that doesn't mean that there's not other people out there that could not only make you feel safe and make you feel cherished, but commit to you and give you the love and, validation and commitment that you deserve, who live in your town, who are able to just prioritize you. And I would hate for you to, again, just because of the level of comfort and the level of safety you feel with him, subject yourself to doing something this weekend that you're really, really going to regret. And like Nick said, you're going to have to live with and bring up to someone else when you do find an amazing person who gives you everything that you want and deserve. And so I just think maybe taking a step back, really evaluating that. And like Nick said, what's your priority right now? Is it going to be working on yourself, figuring out your triggers, being able to find someone? Or is it just going to be, okay, well, this is all I get. This is all I will ever have, is just this partial part of Stephen's life.
No, I think that's good advice. It's, it pinpoints some of the, issues that I'm dealing with on being, completely comfortable with Stephen as I am, whether that be in or out of the bedroom. And, potentially there is someone out there that can fill in the gaps that I'm missing today, but I'm scared of that.
Yeah,
It's
and
scary.
it is scary. It makes sense. But kind of to Allie's point, it's scary, but, as someone who's had limited sexual partners in your life, so clearly you have no problem with taking things slow. You prioritize taking things slow and getting comfortable with someone. So you're used to that. So that's great. And, some people are just like, oh, I just, meet someone I want to fuck, so you don't have to deal with that wanting to take slow. And at this point in your life, like, well, it might, you might run into a lot of men who don't want to take things slow. Hopefully, that's something and hopefully that's something you're comfortable with enforcing that boundary. Also, it could be something you work with on a therapist. But my point is, you can go out, you could have that coffee date, you can take things slow with the guy, you can build up to that comfort level. It might require you to say no to some sex for a period of time, but you've been abstaining from sex every time Steve's in a relationship. So clearly you're capable of abstaining from sex from a new guy. I do think to a certain level, your past trauma has become, it's valid, but also you are using it as an excuse to not make choices that are better for you. Because having sex with Steven this weekend, whatever trauma you've experienced isn't, like, that's not why you're doing it. And it is scary to go out there and meet other people, but you met Steven. You've met other people. You clearly are capable of meeting people, and you just might have to take things slow. Again, I honestly think both of you right now are not capable of being the partners that you know you can be and want to be and deserve to be to someone else. And maybe you both just need to take a step back, a couple months, maybe 6 months, really focus on working on yourselves, making healthy choices, especially you, Julie. Every choice that you make when it comes to relationships, ask yourself, what is this accomplishing? Is this something to do? Is this toxic stimulation? Is it keep me entertained? Is it like making me just feel less bored? Is it validating my ego? Or could it make me happy? You're not incapable of making tough choices that are good for yourself. And I think you just have to hold yourself to a higher standard.
Okay.
So what do we think we're going to do, Julie?
I don't know. It's tough to set those boundaries. It's tough to set those boundaries with Stephen, I will say. It is very, very tough. So
you're giving him
his
too much
support in that will, and yes, giving him the power. I want him to have that control in some aspects, but not all aspects, because I like to be in control too.
Listen, I get that, but that should be something that you do in a relationship where you have trust. Very dangerous to give someone power and control when you don't have trust. And you don't have trust with Stephen. I understand, Julie, that if you today get off the phone with me and truly start enforcing that boundary, and Stephen helps you by not responding to you and helps you enforce that boundary, tomorrow's not going to be the happiest day of your life. I get that. It'll be probably sad, and there'll be tears, and you're just gonna have to go through that. You're gonna have to detox. Again, you back to the whole like drug. You're gonna go through withdrawals. It'll be painful. It'll be more painful than it is now. But all you have felt is pain when it comes to this guy. Sorry for talking about you to your face, Stephen. It's just there's been no joy. There's been no happiness. Just quick fixes. And this weekend will be no different. And in fact, it'll be worse. You will regret it if you do it. I hope that you're the type of person who will regret it. I'm banking on the fact that despite these choices you've both made, that you're not bad people, that you're just imperfect people with flaws. But our choices matter. They impact ourselves and the people around us. It's not fate or destiny that brought you together. These are choices you have both made. And our choices that we make are not guaranteed to work out. people make bad choices, and sometimes they get old and they look back and be like, I fucked up my life. People regret their lives. That happens all the time because of their choices. Because you can't go back in time. I'm sorry you're going through this.
Thanks. Me too.
But it's more your fault at this point than it is Steven's, as it relates to you. You know, he's not your partner. He's not responsible for your choices. He has his own demons to work on. You know, and again, Steven, I don't think you should go, because I think she's going to have a hard time saying no to you this weekend. And if you care about her, I think you should not go. I think you should cut her off. I think you should get off this call and block her. I do. I know.
Don't do that.
I know. Listen, you're going to feel.
No, and I think having a conversation and saying, hey, this is, where it has to stop, or this is where it has to end.
You've had that conversation, Julie.
I think just hanging up this call and, not having any further communication would be very challenging. And I know that would be difficult for me, maybe not so much for him.
No, it would be.
It is difficult when that's someone I've shared so much of my life with, and someone that I talk to on a regular basis, to just cut it off cold turkey. Like, that's not easy to do.
I totally get it. It would be totally hard. It would be painful. It might be the most painful thing you experience in the short term. I agree. But it still would be the best thing for you in the long run. Because it is going to be painful. It's going to be scary. It's going to be maybe the hardest thing you've ever done in your life. But it will be for the best, because right now, that pain in the short term might be a 10 or 11 or whatever out of 10. But right now, you're just like comfortable with feeling like, if in a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most painful, you're just being comfortable with constantly feeling like a 7. And you're thinking, well, a 7's not as bad as a 10. And if he cuts me off, I'm going to feel like a 10. But the only way you're going to get to a 2 or a 1, where you should be when it comes to like feeling pain over joy, joy being 0 in this analogy, the only way to get there is to get to that 10 and allow yourself to grieve and get through it and work with a therapist and reach out to your healthy support system, whoever that is. That's the only way. It is the only way you're going to be happy. You're not going to be happy by Steven giving what you think you want, which is a relationship with him right now. He's not loving himself adequately. He's not loving his current partner adequately. He's not capable of making you happy. Just because you're able to talk about your bad days with him, it still brings you pain. There's plenty of people who will listen to your bad days who won't bring you pain.
Thanks for that.
All right, I could go on and on, but I'd just be saying the same thing in a different ways. But I wish you nothing but the best. I really hope, Julie, that you will update us on your progress. We're happy to check in on you. I'd love to see you through with see this through with you. We're here to help, but it's going to come down to your willingness to decide to be happy. Steven, I hope you don't go see her this weekend. I really want to thank you both. I know this isn't easy. It's a very vulnerable conversation. Obviously, I've been pretty honest and direct, but hopefully this will not only bring you two happiness, but other people I'm sure are experiencing similar situations. But listen, I want the best for both of you, and your life's too goddamn short to be doing what you guys are doing to yourselves. It's just not worth it, man. Like, it's just not.
I know we're wasting time.
But yeah, but not your time as a couple, Julie. You're wasting your life, Julie, and Steven's wasting his. And you're hurting people along the way. Most importantly, you're hurting yourselves. Listen, this is not going to be easy, Julie. But I don't know. It sounds like your life right now is pretty fucking tough. And constantly filled with sadness and confusion and pain. Your only problem is you're just so goddamn used to your current pain that anything different.
It's the norm.
Yeah. Well, choice is yours. You're not as incapable as you're acting. You're not as helpless as you're acting. And you called, you reached out, I'm guessing you didn't think I was going to give you different advice.
Nope.
So pat yourself on the back for having guts to do that. Pat yourself on the back for when you do stand up for yourself, when you make good character choices, when you prioritize your own happiness, when you say no to Steven, that's when you should pat yourself on the back. But you're capable of doing it. Stop acting like you can't, or that you're helpless, or that he's so magical. No, he is causing you pain.
Okay.
All right. Well, again, thank you for taking the time. I know it wasn't easy. Thank you to the both of you. I hope, honestly, to hear from the both of you about your progress. I hope next time I talk to each of you as individuals, I never want to talk to you two together again, unless it's, 2 years from now and you've both been through some traumatic therapy and you're like engaged. But short of that,
And we shouldn't keep that in mind. That should not be
that's
the goal.
not the goal. But, your goal as individuals is to be happy. Your goal as an individual is to be able to say, the people I surround myself with, I bring them happiness too. More than I bring them pain. Neither of that is true for either of you right now.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, good luck. Thank you again for taking the time. Let us know what you do. Regardless if you see each other this weekend, please keep us updated. I hope that you don't, but we will work with you either way.
Okay. Thank you.
Choice is yours. I will be happy this weekend either way. Well, no matter what you do.
Okay, good.
But I want you to be happy too come Monday. All right? Take care.
All right.
Truly take care of yourselves. And thank you for reaching out. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to send in those questions at asknick@theviallfiles.com. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Hey guys, if you loved what you listened to, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.